Hello and welcome to the last episode of Vox Mundi, where we will go through the world as it stands at the end date. This is the end screen, the world in 1936. Castile, they came out on top, followed by us. The CLN, closing in on us. They will probably surpass us in the future. In the hypothetical future, that is. Because I will not be continuing this into Hearts of Iron, because I am waiting for the new Hearts of Iron to come out, and by the time that is out, I will have started a new campaign, more than likely. In any case, we have the Republic of Valois, followed by Prithenia, Republic of Vinland, Anglian Republic, and, surprisingly, Korea. The secondary powers were the Gudian Workers' Republic, Great Baghdad, Empire of the Ever-Burning Sun, Africa, the Virgin Isles, Union of Irish Workers, Seville, and the Ferraro-Lombard Empire. I'm so happy about the Ferraro-Lombard Empire being absolutely decimated, because they were dicks to us at the very beginning. So this is our final score. We had 1,494 prestige. We should have had much more than that. Curse you, Castile. Our industry is very powerful with a score of 1,281. Our military score is 915 and we have 238k in the bank. This doesn't really matter. We're still an absolute monarchy. We did not turn out to be the liberal utopia that we set out to be. And we're ruled by the Freethinkers Liberal Party. We got all technologies except for one, and I guess most inventions. Hard to know when it doesn't say how many there are in total. Our population, 12.6 million, 148 provinces with 189 factories, a literacy of 97%, and 220 brigades and 17 warships. I guess this could have been better, but hey, I'm actually quite new to Victoria, so I don't know how to do everything optimally. In any case, mostly socialist and liberal, a dash of conservatism, and our workforce is almost exclusively farmers and craftsmen and laborers. So, I took some time to dig up some fun statistics for you. I'm going to go in-game while I tell you. But I looked up all of the world wars that we have been a part of. Namely, the First World War, the Second Great War, the Third Great War, and the Fifth Great War. We sat number 4 out completely. For some reason. I guess we just missed it. Like, I know I have labeled them wrong in the series names, the episode names. Because I have like the First World War, the Second and the Third. While in reality there's been 5 and we've been in 4 of them. So I'm not sure what I've been thinking. In any case, this is the final save I took 1 day before, or 2 days before the game ended, and I'm gonna use this for statistics. So, while we take a look at Europe here, I will tell you the casualties by side and by war, who was the aggressor and who was the defender. So let's start off with the Great War. If you remember the Great War, the Latin Commonwealth, now the Ferraro-Lombard Empire, attacked us in over some territory they wanted to take from us. And they lost 1.8 million men, while we, our combined alliance, actually lost 2.2. But as far as I know, we won, so I still consider that a victory. The Second Great War was actually less bloody for us. It was started by Turov, who attacked Prithenia. Turov is now the Gudian Workers' Republic. So the Second World War was quite one-sided compared to the first one. Turov, and by extension us, lost 1.6 million men, and the Prithenians, with Extended Alliance, lost 3.3 million. What a slaughter. In any case, the next war, the Third Great War, was started by us against Moravia. Do you remember when we liberated all of this? I do. This was an incredibly non-bloody war. It was less bloody than the First World War. you can barely even call it a world war. In any case, we lost less than 500,000 men, and they lost just slightly over 500,000 men. So, but I'm not ending it on this low note here, no, because the Fifth Great War, the one that we had the most recently, you all remember it if you've watched this series. The Fifth Great War was massive, absolutely massive, and it was started by Castile against Great Baghdad to liberate this piece of shit here that isn't even civilized. At the end of the game, we have an uncivilized Ossetia. In any case, this war we had to fight ourselves. Castile just sat here and lost battles against Africa. But in any case, the losses on our side wasn't that grim. We lost 2.6 million men. It's not that much. I mean, it's more than the First and Second World Wars, but it's not more than them combined. But here comes the big kicker. Great Baghdad and its extended alliance lost 7.8 million men in that war. To put that in perspective, we have 12 million men in our country. In total. We killed more than half of our own nation's population in pure soldier count from all of the nations combined that attacked us, like Gurians and the Ever-Burning Sun and Great Baghdad. It was a massacre, so one-sided, and so many men had to die for this. It was amazing. So, in any case, with that out of the way, let's get down to the more nitty-gritty here. Let's take a look at the world here. Jämtland has done very well for themselves. Noregur, nothing has happened here. Lithuania has expanded in a very odd way and then lost a lot of territory to both Guria and these nations here. I don't remember exactly what they started with, but I do think at least Livonia, yes, was a part of them. Maybe Prussia, I don't remember exactly. Like the Moravian-Ruthenian split went as expected. There's some odd ones out here, like Little Silesia, and the fact that Hanover was never annexed. What is this, by the way? This is the Moravian Union still controls Heligoland. That's interesting, but it's a naval base. In Europe here, land has changed hands so many times, I'm not even sure. Akovitavia, Republic of Valois, and Italy have all switched lands back and forth. Sydköln has gone from being completely insignificant to being somewhat Switzerland-esque. Just sit there in the middle with their conservative party doing not much. We still have little Flanders here, a communist dictatorship in the middle of this socialist democracy. So it's like all the extremists from Valois enter Antwerpen to really live out their communist fantasies. The British Isles also been fairly static, to be honest. Cornwall is still around, which is very unsuspected, really. I thought the Union of Irish Workers would take them on. Castile owns this. The Anglians are fairly strong, to be honest. They're a secondary power, I think. We looked at them earlier, I don't really remember. And Iceland and Northland, nothing happened. Nothing at all. Lithuania, interestingly enough, owns Jan Mayen. And in Jan Mayen, 6.4 thousand people live. That's, well, that's more than in real life. The Gudian Workers' Republic have, well, manifested their realm here. It's very shattered. As you can see, there's exclaves inside of them in 2 areas. We have all of this. Well, their rightful territories are mostly within their own grasp. There's still some that belongs to Moravia and some that belong to the Ever-Burning Sun Empire. But then again, they have taken land from the Ever-Burning Sun Empire as well. So in any case here, we don't really need to delve too deep into us here. I'm gonna look in the ledger later on to see how we actually fare. The Italian region is, well, this is going to be like the Balkans of our timeline. There's constant strife here, and there's so many different nations that want different things. Well, actually, the Balkans are not exactly a good comparison to these. It's like there's so many ideologies flourishing here, and they cannot get along. So realms split off, and they actually artificially create these revolter states. Like Pisa never had territory that looked like this and included Rome. They never had Ancona before. And Ragusa, you're not even in Ragusa. Like these are just people that moved here from Ragusa or something, and they were like, let's create Ragusa here because the empire cannot protect us. We have Sicily and we have Messene and other states that just couldn't stay apart here. Covetavia is a fairly stable realm, even though they have went and gone completely 180 on their communist ideals. And instead they are a fascist dictatorship, which is very weird for a nation founded on mutual benefit and tolerance. As you may remember, the Covetavian region was just a complete mess in the previous games. So many religions, so many cultures. I merged them all together into a fusion culture, and they have loads of various religions inside of their realm. And they are very tolerant, but then again, I'm not exactly sure. But it appears as if you are religious, that's enough for them. They are very moralistic. I'm not sure, really. This is a very, very odd state. It's 180'd completely on what it was founded on. So maybe they only... let's pretend there for a while. Maybe they only accept one state religion, and they're actually somewhat of a theocracy now? Not sure. In any case, here we have Castile, undisputed greatest power of the world. Yeah, they still hold most of their colonies in Africa. They still hold... no, actually, I do not think they have anything except for Pampas left. But still, they have Pampas left. This is a big nation here. It's a democracy, a liberal democracy. Castile itself is also it's a liberal kingdom. So it goes hand in hand, really. Pampas still supplies a lot of goods to them, and they have a population of 4.7 million. That's quite a lot. Otherwise, the nations here are free except for Anglia and Bergia, which I am surprised by. They have 4.19 million people in it. What does Anglia even have? Well, 14, so undisputedly bigger. So they are still subservient to the masters back in Anglia. These nations have been extremely uninteresting, so I'm not even going to talk about them. They've just done nothing. The papacy, on the other hand, they expanded into Indochina. We've liberated quite a bit of it, but at least they tried. They had some opportunities, but they failed. Ruled by the Stone Church, which is a custom party that one of you suggested. It's generic conservative, I believe. Yeah, it's quite pro-military moralism, etc. Tejas, yeah, that's a nice nation. It's in the sphere of the CLN, which just goes to prove how big the CLN has become. It is really, really big. It is definitely the United States of this timeline. Even though they are slightly weaker and do not own as much territory as the United States in our timeline does. The Republic of Vinland is also a great power, so the Canada of this timeline is stronger than the Canada of ours. And they have a little odd split here, but it's actually fairly understandable in a way. I believe that Vinland's power comes mainly from the fact that they were founded earlier and that they actually have a large chunk of the west coast. Let's take a look here. They have 21 million, 22 million really, while the CLN has 30, so they are actually very close in size. One wouldn't think so, but that's how it is. In any case, Seville, our old friend from the Castilian area, they have, well, permanently settled down on their little island here. Ruled by the fascists. Of course, they are very revanchist, because they want these cores back. That they still have, I do believe. Yes, they do. Well, by this time, they should probably expire. This is properly an island nation. And, well, I do believe they're quite dependent on Castile, because they have a very common culture and probably a rich exchange of goods and ideas and wares and stuff, even though Seville is a very revanchist country. Let's take a look at Asia. Here we have the Empire of the Ever-Burning Sun, the Russia of this timeline, a very, very weak Russia. They have really done nothing but become defeated. They've been defeated so many times, and they started out so strong, taking all of this. This is a lot of population. There's a couple million people in some of these provinces, because the poor Shang Republic took a hell of a beating. They never recovered from this. They never recovered from the Empire beating them to a pulp. And unlike Korea, they couldn't capitalize on the sudden weakness of the Ever-Burning Sun. Korea, on the other hand, now this is a massive empire. Definitely the prime Asian power here. And they were a great power even, so yeah, look at this. How many? Oh, 30 million. Not bad. And it's a conservative party. The Tonghak. The Shang is just a reactionary democracy, of course. I mean, this is a nation in turmoil. On the other hand here, Takahashi, well, they're not growing, they're not expanding, they're not doing anything at all. They're just fortifying the entire island with maximum level forts. Very isolationist. Quite backwards, I would say. This area isn't very interesting. It's still largely colonial, with only a few free nations. The Sweden Show, they never really took off, so to say. No one lives here. There's 136k people living in Australia. I think Australia can safely be assumed to be the forgotten continent. No one cares. No one cares. And there's one person living here in Alice Springs, all by himself. There's one dude in Gibson's Desert, and one in the Sandy Desert. There's literally only hermits living here. The same goes for New Zealand. I guess they never really had an influx of people seeking opportunity. Probably because the Sweden Show is still ruled by a king. And all the migrants seek democracies, like the CLN and Vinland. So poor Australia missed out on almost everything here. The Mamluks, yeah, they lost lots of their territory at the very start to Valois. Valois held to it, yes. So this area is mainly of other cultures than what the Mamluks were. So if a hypothetical Gandhi appears in this timeline, this is not going to be ceded back to the Mamluks. I even think that Mamluks is probably a gone cause. They will stick around, but then they will probably shatter into several small states based on culture. Even though they will probably stay together as somewhat of a federation, maybe. I still don't. I don't have much trust in the Mamluks, because they've suffered too many defeats throughout history. Sistan here. Yes, an absolute monarchy. Nothing really to talk about here either. They have taken lands from the Mamluks and expanded slightly. They are massive though. No, actually, these were not the massive ones. They only have 5 million. 3 million. Maybe, yeah, maybe they were the massive ones. Or do they have an extreme emigration? Maybe they do. I cannot start time and check, unfortunately, because of that it takes a few days for migration to kick in, and if I let time run, it will just game over. It's interesting to see that Moravia took this and then stuck with it. Lots of people live here, and mostly Czech people, interestingly enough. Southern Czech and Central Czech people have all moved here in droves. Persians are a minority in their own home provinces. Let's move on here to our second greatest enemy, Great Baghdad, that are down to a more manageable size. You could call them the Middle East now, really, because that's what they are. They released Africa as its own nation, because Great Baghdad is still... they're still a caliphate, really. If you take a look at Prussian constitutionalism, I would say that the Caliph right now is he's a figurehead that promotes the religion, but also he promotes spreading the religion, and that's the liberal aspect of all of this. It's free trade, it's laissez-faire, pluralism in religious policy. Like, let everyone in and let everyone see how great this nation is. That was the deal with Africa in any case. Mostly because the African colonies were very unruly and they wanted to, well, have them manage themselves somewhat. Though this idea is doomed to fail, because a nation as large as this doesn't have any unity. So in a hypothetical continuation of this, Africa would shatter. But they would shatter into more organic states, rather than what we have in real life, where all the borders are drawn straight and nice. It would definitely be based on the nationality. The various, like, this would probably be a very large inland African nation, probably fused with these African miners here. This is the old Fez and Mali region. But otherwise, I believe it would be very dynamic. The borders would be very dynamic. Like, some of these here, like the Alexandrians, are already very Arabized, though they are not Arabic in such a sense that they could rejoin Great Baghdad. Though Great Baghdad would probably have to lose some of its territory in a hypothetical modern era in this world. Like, Ankara would probably have to be ceded because of the large minority of Berbers. I thought it was Kurds, actually. Berbers? Really? Alright. Well, I know there's a large Kurdish minority here. Well, let's talk about us. Dacia would definitely have to either take over the world in some sort of apocalyptic world war, or shatter. Because this nation is just funded on such different ideals. There's Vlach, a ruling elite of Vlach that just overtakes everyone else. Even Greeks are second-class citizens in their own Eastern Roman Empire. Or, well, the Dacia is the self-proclaimed successor to the Roman Empire, much like a Russia on steroids, kind of. In any case, the last area here is, well, Africa. Very uninteresting African nations here in Funchal and Borno. So small that they are technically part of Africa, or the states surrounding them. We have the Castilians here, nothing interesting, and, of course, Anglian South Africa, still held by the Anglians. What else can be interesting to show here? Well, the islands are not very interesting. They are very, 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 very spread out between the various nations and are mostly used for naval bases and nothing else. In any case, let's take a look at the ledger and maybe we'll find something that we didn't think of before. The nation ranking. Let's go by total score. I'm gonna scroll through this list slowly, so in case you want to pause and take a look, then you can do so. Yes. It's interesting to see what's below the Ferraro-Lombard Empire, because they are the last secondary power here. So we have the Czech Republic on its way back. Covatavia and the Moravian Union are two former great powers that have lost their touch. Tejas, on their way up, but slowly and steady, along with the Bergia. Towards the end here, the bottom of the list, we have all of these nations that never really did anything. Jämtland and Lithuania are in their own little league where they constantly fight each other. And here we have the really, really, really weak nations. The Fraticelli Papacy is probably the strongest of the very weak nations. We have Sicily, Silesia, Brunei, Cornwall, and all the other ones that are just so tiny. It's interesting that Sistan is so far down, though. Alright, here we have Northland. They are literally only the Faroes. And they're still ahead in score over Iceland. That is, well, when it's completely on prestige, and I guess that Iceland has one factory somewhere. That's always something. But who is the worst nation in the world is obviously Ossetia. It's partially westernized. Ooh, there's one other one. Swahili is also partially westernized. Where did you come from? You came from Africa. Yeah, well, this looks at most partially westernized to me. That's one badass soldier, though. I really like the look of these East and South African warriors. Really look awesome. Let's go back to the ledger. Yeah. Among the civilized nations, the rump state of Chagatai, which is like the last horde country ever. It's like nomads living in these pastures here. Ruled by the reincarnation of Genghis Khan or something, I don't know. Like, these are literally grazing lands. No one wants these lands. In any case, let's take a look at the ledger again here. The national comparison. Let's take a look at the top scoring populations here. Alright, so the Sheng still have the most pops. Followed by the Empire of the Ever-Burning Sun. The CLN. Wait, what? Total pop. Oh, right, so this is the adult male population, yeah. So this is the total population. It's women and children and old people that cannot serve in the army. So the CLN is ahead of Korea. That's interesting, yeah. Korea, Republic of Valois, etc. Where are we? We are at 50 million. So we have 50.5 million people. So we have 12 million adult men and 50 million of everything else. I think that's quite respectable. I'll just scroll through this list to see which the smallest nation in the world is. It's Northland with 5,270 people. Well, that's quite underwhelming, but they are the Faroes. I actually don't think 5,000 people live on the Faroes today. I think it's 2,000 or something like that. And there's also, in real life, there's some interesting artifacts on the people that live on the Faroes, because of a few hundred years of inbreeding. They have, a lot of the people there share the same genetic defects. In any case, that's very off topic. Let's move on. We have the political systems here. This is interesting. I think this is interesting. Let's take a look at governments. We are among few absolute monarchies. Swahili, Sistan, Cornwall, Jämtland, and Ceylon. Jämtland has been in our sphere, so it's not that odd that they would stay an absolute monarchy. But this is really an archaic government form. Democracies are not the most popular, though, because democracies, fascist dictatorships, and proletarian dictatorships, along with the rest, like presidential dictatorships, are about as popular as democracies. The most popular one is HMS government, obviously, it's the most common one here as well. And Prussian constitutionalism for a select few, like Ireland and Great Baghdad. The national values, I never really took a look at these, but we have equality for the Virgin Isles, Rio Grande Teas, Ferraro-Lombard Empire, and Lithuania. We have liberty for Pampas, Norregor, Moravian Union, Cajamarca, New Granada, de Burgia, and Empire of the Ever-Burning Sun. So, the party ideologies here. We only have one anarcho-liberal country, and it's the CLN, not surprisingly. And this is mainly done with events. Then we have quite a few communists, conservatives, loads of fascists, many liberals, some reactionaries and some socialists. But I would say that fascists are the most prolific party ideology in the world right now, even though I do not believe that the most people follow fascist governments, just the most countries. Political reforms, well, let's see, who allows slavery? These are not very progressive. New Granada? Really? Africa Sheng Republic? Really? Republic of Vinland is allowing slavery? That was one of the first things. The CLN allows slavery. What? Truly a beacon of hope. Everyone who moves there will be enslaved. This must be something new, though, because I know for sure that Vinland abolished slavery the first thing they did, and all of the slaves rejoined them as normal pops. They have almost 10% of their population as slaves. Oh well, that's surprising. I'll just scroll through all of these for fun here. But there's nothing else that's really interesting of these, in my opinion. We can just take a look at Castile here and see what they do. Outlawed, universal 2 per state, proportional representation, meetings allowed, free press, non-socialist, trade unions, secret ballots. We, on the other hand, didn't even have voting. Social reforms. Let's see here. So, this is definitely the most progressive of all the ones, I believe. The max work hours one. So let's see here. There's quite a few nations that are at almost modern levels. I believe the Mamluks, for example, they are at a very modern level here. Maybe they will not collapse after all. Maybe they have a very safe social structure and care for all of their people. Castile, oh. Only acceptable minimum wage, by the way. Is Talam Graine here, the Sunshine State, the only real utopia? I would have to say that it looks that way. Even though the Ferraro-Lombard Empire has the same, they are a fascist empire in decline. Talam Grain, they have... well, they have proven themselves. Let's take a look at them, actually. They are socialists, led by a king. They know what they like. They want to bask in the sun. Lots of different cultures, most of them merge into the Calusa culture here. Loads of immigration, but they love living there. Let's go on here, because I'll just scroll through this list, and then I'll take a look at the country population instead. Do we have slaves anywhere? Vinland Act. So they abolished slavery, reintroduced it, and have actually acquired slaves. Where did they get the slaves from? Did they re-enslave their old slave population? I don't know. Maybe. I do not know. CLN also has slaves, but only 2,000. Maybe they work for the ruling elite or something? Well, these nations are not as ideal as I thought. It's actually quite weird. I understand that stuff like Aceh would have it, or Brunei, because they are basically just colonies that civilized very late. But Vinland and the CLN? The CLN starts with it outlawed as well. What the hell, CLN? Oh, anyway, that was interesting. Where are all the capitalists? I wanted capitalists and I got none. I believe we do have a few of them though, but none of them are ours. We stole them all from the Moravians. Well, Bithynia has most of them. Interestingly enough, because they are communist. Castile... yeah, okay, so most of them are in Europe, it appears. Central Europe, more specifically. Where are all the aristocrats? Yes, in the Sheng, obviously. Nothing else is really interesting. Let's look at the soldier population. CLN, ugh. So many soldiers. Good thing I never had to fight them. Provinces. This is not super interesting. This is mostly for your pleasure. I'll just scroll through this. I do not believe it's that interesting. You can pause if you really want to look at any of these, because I mean, they are not even sorted by anything. It's just all the provinces. It can be interesting though to sort them by religion and see. Of course we have the Fraticellis, that because we took the colonies. Gnostic Orthodox, that's our state religion. Then we have some Zoroastrians, one Sunni, and the rest Sikhi. Interesting. Our province population, well, that's definitely not very interesting. I'll just scroll through this quickly. I think that was too quick, but then again, it's not very interesting. Province production, though, this is quite interesting. So, of course, Voronezh in Dacia and Kursk, our best province, filled with all the Magyars that we enslaved. Not enslaved, we made them work in factories for minimum wage forever, until they died of exhaustion. Yeah, not much else, really. Factory production. Luhansk, obviously, followed by Wallachia. Oh, these are specific factories as well, so fabric. Yeah, that's the most output, but where's the income? Oh, it's the luxury clothes made in Thrace. Oh, so magnificent in its output and income. Not output, actually. Man, it doesn't produce anything. But it's expensive and people buy all of it for extortionate prices. I like. Price history. This is not interesting. And nation ranking. This is page 1 again here, so we have gone full circle. So, someone asked me if I could upload the last save game, so I will do just that. Along with this video, I will probably post a link. If I forget to do it, please remind me, but the link will bring you this save, so you can poke around in it yourselves. Just, you know, take a look at the various provinces or whatever you like to do. In any case, I have had a lot of fun with this campaign, and I look forward to starting a new one eventually. Might take a while before I actually settle upon something to do, because I have a lot of work nowadays. So I have less time for play and more time for work, but my work is amazingly fun, so I do not mind it. In any case, this campaign is officially over, and the world looks like a horrible place to live. Thank you for watching.